Hi, Vietnam's cuisine lovers. Are you a fan of fish sauce? Well, I bet you are, because it is our nation pride. But have you ever heard that this essential element of our cuisine is not good for your health and can kill you? Sounds familiar, right? This issue was actually being discussed widely during the end of 2016. The shocking rumor arose on 7 October that year when a survey result from Vinastas revealed that 101 per 150 samples of fish sauce analyzed contained more than a legal limit of arsenic. In particular, almost 70% of the samples contained from 1 to 5 mg of arsenic per liter of sauce, whereas the maximum legal arsenic limit is 1 mg per liter. Why does arsenic sound like a bad thing? Well, according to World Health Organization, arsenic is actually highly toxic in its inorganic form. In fact, long-term exposure to inorganic arsenic from drinking and eating can cause cancer and skin lesions. But is it true that the arsenic content in fish sauce is toxic? Well, luckily, this news is not true. Ministry of Health announced that all samples analyzed in the survey contained safe levels of organic arsenic, which is absolutely harmless to people's health since organic arsenic naturally exists in fish and other seafood. Vinastas failed to distinguish the organic arsenic found in domestic fish sauce as non-toxic. The survey results used a very generic term of arsenic that misled the consumers. The government investigation result raised suspicion in consumers that whether there was any collusion between Vinastas and another enterprise in order to defame a competitor. According to Tuổi Trẻ News, it was later confirmed that TNA Ogilvy, an advertising agency, sponsored Vinastas to conduct the survey and released the intentionally misleading result. Up until now, no one knows the actual motive behind the sponsorship. But whatever the reason is, they were surely spreading fake news. Fake news can either be disinformation, meaning information that is inaccurate, intentionally deceiving, and beneficial to the news source. Or it can be misinformation, which means unintentionally deceiving news. As Dr. Nguyễn Ngọc Sơn, head of law of Tôn Đức Thắng University, stated, an advertising agency would never spend a big sum of money on sponsoring for another enterprise for no particular purpose. It certainly must have worked for some other groups or enterprises. Therefore, what Vinastas revealed is obviously visual disinformation, which, according to Fallis, uses misleading images and numbers to lie. With that simple rephrasing, the story of the defective fish sauce had blown a damaging strike to its business and consumers. After the news broke out, most of the traditional and industrial fish sauce companies' sales were instantly plummeted. Their consumers denied to continue their usage of the condiment as they were confused with Vinastas' report and how the media had felt not to muddy the waters. By not being able to counter the misleading news quickly and transparently enough, condiment companies struggled to pacify skeptical consumers and steer them from boycotting the entire industry. The struggle went on as common belief for fish sauce products has drastically changed.
Nhà tôi ngày hôm qua có một chị ở quê ra, trên mâm cơm thì tôi rót một bát nước mắm ra, chị cầm cái bát nước mắm chị đổ vào lavabo. Xong chị ấy bảo rằng là người ta đang nói là nước mắm độc hại như thế gây ung thư, đổ đi.
As people's thoughts were emotionally driven by the bombarding news, the confusion clouded their judgment to make sense of all the given information. A 2017 report on fake news from University of British Columbia pointed out the reason behind the confusion is the truth of the story no longer matters. People were interpreting personal belief and common ideology for facts, and fake news was considered to be news that attacks their pre-existing beliefs. It led to the media lost their credibility, and consumers held tight to what makes sense to them. The crisis has passed, yet the outer information lives on. In the case of the fish sauce crisis, the government, the media, and the consumers actually tried to combat with this issue, but it seems like a damage control. According to Tuổi Trẻ News, Vietnamese government had ordered Vietnamstats to rectify false information, and multiple media outlets, including Thanh Niên News, was fined up to 200 million Vietnam dong. Public apology letters and edits were made. Scientists weighed in, but it wasn't enough to change people's perception about fish sauce. As news outlets attempted to debunk fake news, they had intentionally amplified the false beliefs, which was discovered by researchers of psychological science in the public interest. And from the consumer's point of view, fact-checking didn't work, as Brandon Meehan, a political scientist, pointed out.
There's good evidence, including from my own research, that people do respond in the direction of facts in many circumstances, but they update less than we'd often like. And in the macro sense, we don't see public opinion converging around a set of accurate beliefs. We can observe some responsiveness if we give people information, but it doesn't seem to be enough to make these misperceptions go away.
We, as media consumers, should know how to combat fake news and have an effective strategy to evaluate the authenticity of news as well. We suggest that you should. First, check the source. It should be alarming if you couldn't find any credible author names, publishing date, or trustworthy host site. You should also consider if there is any sponsored content in the article, which is not always bad, but there must be some intention behind the news. Second, review information on the same topic from credible sources to see if there's any counter-argument or in-depth information. Third, don't just stop at the headline. Most of the time it's just clickbait, which is created to dramatize the news to attract your attention. Next, take breaking news with a grain of salt. It's great you can stay up to date with the news in real time. However, because of that, it might lack a fact-checking and non-biased view. Last but not least, stay curious. Don't mistake news for facts. Always ask questions of things you aren't clear of. The bottom line is we are too comfortable with the abundance of loosely fact-checking information on the news. To prevent something like the fish sauce crisis from happening again, the media needs to develop a different fact-checking strategy and be extra careful in their hectic and real-time coverage, not to amplify falsehood.